Oh, what's going on, guys? Gamer Dude back once again, bringing you some more informative gaming news. But before we begin, you'll know the routine, or at least I hope you do by now. If you are new to the channel, please make sure you smash that like button and drop me a subscribe, because it would just be a good deed of the day. Same applies if you are a returning viewer. Now then, it appears the Walking Dead franchise is the gift that keeps on giving, as well as all the TV spin-offs after the conclusion of the main show. It appears that we are now getting a what-if inspired video game based upon the first 4 seasons of the Walking Dead TV show. Now, this what-if series will put you into the shoes of those seasons, allowing you to change the story. Now, in this video, we're going to be breaking down this game, what it means for the franchise, if there will be a sequel, throwing in a few discussions here and there, and what it actually means for the continuing run of the Walking Dead games. So here we go. Now, this new game, as I mentioned, is going to let you basically rewrite the TV series. The trailer provided you're even able to turn Rick into a walker. So at that point, you know, it goes from, you know, you can have Shane kill Rick, you can have Rick die at the prison, you can have the governor kill Rick, etc., etc. All what if scenarios. And I find this brilliant. I've been chatting away about what if scenarios on The Walking Dead with my good buddy Blazin710420. Check out his channel if you haven't already, on these exact scenarios. And now they're actually making a game on it. It kind of feels like, you know, that they've been looking at our conversations and been like, "Ooh, that's a good idea for a game. Let's do that." You know, it's ridiculous how, you know, we've been talking about it for years and now they've finally done it. But, you know, I will say, name a more iconic duo than The Walking Dead and choice-based video games. Telltale's Walking Dead, with its choice-based scenarios, just did it all for me. You know, I loved it. When the first season released way back on the PS3, I loved it. You know, I loved it so much I bought it again on the PS3, and usually I'm against buying a game for a third time, but I bought it again for a third time on the PS5 for the Telltale Definitive Edition, even though, you know, that was the PS4 version, but, you know, still bought it again to play on the PS5. Anyway, moving on. AMC and publisher Game Mill Entertainment know there's no better answer for choice-based video games than The Walking Dead. So they're teaming up for a new choose-your-own adventure-style action game based on the Walking Dead TV series that does indeed look intriguing. Now, of course, it's going to be nothing like Telltale's Walking Dead. Nothing can compare to Telltale's Walking Dead. You know, it's going to be very similar in terms of choosing the story and how the outcome goes based on your choices. But the graphic style from what I've seen in the trailer is very different. The Telltale games went for the more like comic book panel style animations, whereas this seems to go for more of like a 3D sort of cartoony effect. I mean, I wouldn't say cartoony as such, but I can't really find another word for it. If you've got another word for it and you've seen the trailer, let me know in the comments below. But yeah, the game is called Walking Dead Destinies, and it was revealed on Thursday via IGN. This game will let players, as they put it, rewrite the story of AMC's live-action adaptation of Robert Kirkman's zombie apocalypse series. Now, some of the gameplay does appear to include third-person action sequences where players will take control of characters from the show. I saw, in particular, a couple of stealth scenes. I saw, in particular, a couple of, you know, scenes where you're running through the streets, attacking walkers. I saw a scene in the prison where you're playing as Daryl, attacking walkers. So it seems as though there's going to be a little bit of exploration involved as well. So it's not just going to be like Telltale's Walking Dead where you explore these small environments. I think it's going to be somewhat similar to The Walking Dead Survival Instinct, if if anybody remembers that game, like, because it was such a horrible, disastrous mess. But that game featured Daryl in, I suppose, what you could call a full open world Walking Dead story. It featured Daryl on his way to Atlanta before he met up with Rick's crew, and it had a full open world story to it. You could explore all the levels. You could look for collectibles, find ammo, kill walkers, find survivors, bring them with you, etc., etc. And it looks like The Walking Dead Destinies is going to cover that in a similar fashion while incorporating the Telltale Games choice-based system as well. Now, while the game does offer the control of the set pieces from the show, it includes letting John Bernthal's character, Shane Walsh, murder Rick Grimes in one of the scenarios, affirming Shane as the leader of the survivors, and Rick becoming the zombie, which would have been the end of Season 2. Now, where that arc might go from there, and will play out in Destinies, is anybody's game. You know, maybe you can make the same dialogue choices that Rick would have made as Shane, or you can have different dialogue choices based on what you think Shane would say. You know, obviously it'll be limited, you know, like Telltale's choices were limited, but let's hope there's no time limit on the choices like the Telltale Games, because I think that kind of spoiled it a little bit, because you were rushing to pick a choice, and if you didn't pick a choice, something bad usually happened. So let's hope they change that a little bit. Now, The Walking Dead Destinies, as I've mentioned, will span the first 4 seasons of the TV series, which means players will experience story-altering decisions on the journey to Atlanta. For these changes will take place at the Green family farm, the prison, and the nearby town of Woodbury. Now, Season 4 of The Walking Dead does end on a cliffhanger with everyone being trapped in the train car at Terminus. So whether or not this, depending on how well the game sells and how well it does, means it'll get a sequel after this, is anybody's game. This could just be a pet project, you know. This could just be something that they're wanting to release, hyping up all these new spin-off shows. But if it does well, maybe they'll do another video game based on the same scenario with another 4 seasons, or with the rest of the seasons. We don't know yet. They haven't said anything. You know, they've just said, right, this is what you've got, this is what's coming, enjoy. And despite the look of the graphics looking a bit like a PS2 game, I'm thinking this can be enjoyable. Now, the trailer for the game shows players taking control of characters like Rick, Daryl, Glenn, and Shane. But according to Game Mill's announcement, pretty much every familiar face from the TV show will show up. However, there is a small downside to this. While the characters do have the likeness of all the actors, none of the original voice actors are returning to voice the characters, which is a real shame. So, you know, Andrew Lincoln's not coming back, Stephen Yin's not coming back, Danny Guerrero's not coming back. It's a real shame that none of the voice actors, or the actors who will voice these characters, are coming back, and they're just recasting them. Maybe they were asked to come back, maybe they wanted to, but there was a scheduling conflict because of all the new shows being filmed. I don't know. But the fact is, none of them are returning at all, and that is really evident in the trailer, with what sounds like someone trying to pull off a Rick Grimes-esque American accent, and it sounds really, really bad. That's all I'm going to say on that. It just sounds really, really bad. You've got to watch the trailer for yourself to know what I'm talking about there. But the developer of the game is Flux Games, the studio that develops the Cobra Kai games for Game Mill. The studio's Walking Dead game is in development for Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, PlayStation 5, the PC, Xbox One, and Xbox Series. While the Walking Dead TV series may have concluded after its 11-season run, and many spin-off series, The Walking Dead does continue to live on. You know, it's an icon in the world. But what does this game mean for the franchise? Well, we don't know, because it can't really be considered a spin-off, because, well, although once again the characters do have the likeness of the actors, it's not the actual actors. It's again, it's a what-if scenario. It's a what-if series. Think of Marvel's What If when it comes to this game. You know, anything can happen. Anything goes. You know, Lily, for example, might... Not Lily. What am I saying? I'm going off the footage I'm showing you. But yeah, Andrea, for example, you might have her choose to die at the CDC. Glenn, for example, he could die in Atlanta trying to save Rick. Rick could die in Atlanta, and Glenn could be like, oh, well, he died. I tried, you know, and just go back home and none of it happens. Laurie and Carl are none the wiser to Rick trying to return. And Shane just carries on. You could have a scenario where they stay at the farm. You know, the herd never passes by. If Rick's dead, Shane would obviously still try and kill all the walkers there, if they even went to the farm, because Shane's plan was to go to Fort Benning. So if Rick hadn't have been there, that might have been where they ended up. You never know. But yeah, let me know down in the comments what you think about this announcement. Are you excited for it? I mean, it definitely sounds intriguing, to say the least, and I will definitely give it a go. I mean, there's no official release date on it yet. It's just confirmed that it's in development. But the fact that they have footage for it shows that it's well on the way. So I would expect maybe early 2024, maybe late 2023 for a release on the game. But that's just my theory, so take that with a pinch of salt. So yeah, that's just about all I could pick up on the game. Once again, let me know in the comments what you guys think about it. I think it's going to be really interesting, because we haven't had a Walking Dead game since the final season of The Walking Dead. And that was really disappointing in of itself. You know, it's in the title, the final season, which means that they weren't interested in making any more. Not to mention, at the time of the final season, Telltale Games went under. You know, Telltale Games was done. In fact, we very nearly didn't get the final season because Telltale Games went under. Hence why the final season had a shorter season run than the other seasons, because they had to cut back on what they were doing. They had to make the final episode basically intertwined with what they would have done with the rest of the season, because the company went under. You know, it had to be passed on to Skybound. But yeah, anyway, so that's it for the video. I want to thank you all for stopping by. I really do appreciate it. Once again, y'all know the routine. If you are new to the channel, please make sure you smash that like button and drop me a subscribe, because it would just be your good deed of the day. Same applies if you are a returning viewer. Stay tuned as well, because there's plenty of content to come from me in the coming weeks. I've got plenty of DLCs for games. There's a couple of new games out that I'm wanting to get. And of course, in 2 months' time, Spider-Man 2 launches. And I do have the collector's edition, so I will be doing an unboxing video as well. So stay tuned for that. It's going to be really cool. I love doing unboxing videos on the channel. So yeah, that being said then, this has been GamerDude. Happy gaming. And I will catch you all in the next one, guys.